Good evening, curious people of the internet. This is Seda Röder speaking at the Entrepreneur's Kitchen. The waiting is worth it. At the other end of the line, one of the most amazing European entrepreneurs,
Yeah.
philanthropists, and the founder of the Webit Foundation, Dr. Plamen Russev. Hey, Plamen.
Thank you for the generous words, dear Seda. Thank you for inviting me with you. And please accept you and all your audience my sincere apologies for this couple of minute delay. I hate to be late, but sometimes you can't make a hard stop on things and so many things happening. I'm so sorry, but great to
Oh,
be.
don't be sorry. It's okay. 5 minutes are perfectly fine. It's within the framework of things that can go wrong. And you wouldn't believe at the beginning of the show, we would have like 1.5 hours of delays. So now we're so happy that we're able to put this all together. Plamen, and I want to really thank you. I know how terribly busy you are right now. And actually, I also know that you're gladly busy because you're putting everything online. Let's talk about that for a minute.
Yes. Actually, at that moment, I'm stealing for my family time, not that much from my work time. But yeah, until now, I was on these calls. So yeah, well, it's an impossible journey, right? When once you can't go anywhere else, you have to go to the place that you least thought you're going to go. That's what I call the impossible journey, and that's where many of us are going to these days. So it's a no-brainer not to take the risk, not to take the chance, and not to make what's everything needed in order to continue adding values. Because at the end of the day, that's what really matters. I mean, it's very easy for many of us to stay in the comfort of our homes and to search for short-term values. Or I mean, we all have these friends that are buying and selling face masks and buying and selling temperature meters, and I don't say they're not needed. I mean, everything goes on up and down is needed, but at the end of the day, what really matters is what is the frontier, where are you heading to, and what is the real value that you're building. And I mean now, today, I don't really care about legacy. I don't care about the legacy at all. I don't mind people who care about legacy, right? Those are people driven by ego, etc. I do care about now. I don't believe I'm going to die, right? I will most probably reincarnate in something. So I will continue now. So it's all about now. Even the moment of dying is now, right? So until you'd better do it in a good way, right? Every second, you'd better be the best version of yourself. Even when you're working, when you're dying, when you're reincarnating, whatever, when your soul goes to wonderful places, you'd better do everything the best way possible. I think that's purely entrepreneurship. Yeah, that's my religion.
Absolutely. And you're at the kitchen of the entrepreneurship. And what we want to know is not only your recipe for a better and brighter future, but also we ask all our guests to prep something that's that's creative, that's easy, that's using only 3 ingredients. So did you think about something? or were all the Zoom calls totally you can just get something from the fridge or just watch me.
I would love to support you doing that. Let's do it together, because you have the kitchen next to you, and I'm still in a place which I turned into something like studio. So I just turned my camera a little bit to have some homey decoration behind me, because I know you're inviting me to your kitchen. So I said it should not be a studio. It should not be all these lights and stuff. So that's the only homey stuff I have, like the curtains. But I would love to support you on the way, and let's cook it. I think the future is all about collaboration, right? And it's collaboration done the right way. So let's collaborate together with you. You obviously have the ingredients.
Yes, I have actually 2 apples. So one is for you, one is for me. I'm going to cook for both of us today. It's going to be a dessert. And Also, let me tell people who are watching us out there that we have a Slido code today. Like every day, you can ask questions to Plamen. It's slido.com, and our event code is 84501. 84501, and that is where you can ask questions to Plamen and to me. If you have anything to add, please go ahead. Well, Plamen, I want to really know about your journey of putting everything into the virtual world. Before going there, let's talk about a little bit about. Actually, I was just reading something that was so inspiring and so funny at the same time. When you started the Webit, the event series, like more than 10 years ago, 12 years ago.
13.
Yeah, wow, amazing. People misunderstood you. They thought that you were putting together a techno party, and it was written someplace that some people were even asking for their money back. And then you flinkily, within just a couple of hours, put together a techno party, a music party. So it just went smoothly. And with that same flinkness, now you're putting everything, I mean, we were going to have Webit in a couple of weeks into the virtual world. So how are you kind of replacing or trying to make a similar experience in the virtual world for Plamen, for Webit audience?
In terms of digital transformation, we are basically doing things that we've never thought we are going to do now. When we realized that there will be no Webit in person 2020, it's been a very tough, realization of understanding of reality, right? And you realize that the whole year of hard work, the 500 speakers that you brought in, the hundreds of exhibitors, partners, the beauty of bringing all these amazing people together on one of the many locations in the world, we bring people together. This is always not going to happen. And this is a tough thing, right? It's like the whole world is crashing on your shoulders. So what I told to my team, with the Webit team particularly, was, listen, guys, none of you is going to be laid off. We're all in this together, but we need to most probably be the real proof of digital transformation ourselves. The real proof of how the future of work is going to look like, meaning there will be no one profession. There will be one person will be having a bunch of professions. So people who are dealing with live events and that were coordinating suppliers, I mean, hard work. Now they became video engineers or sound engineers or etc. So what really happened at the end of the day, using, of course, this amazing platform, the virtual show, we have now outgrown Webit by tenfold. We have 3 Webits per day. And per week, 3 Webits. So tomorrow, the day after, and the day after. This week, we are talking about the future of work and education. And we've reached over 12,000 people, live viewers, and at any moment. And then hundreds of thousands of us. So that's, and what you're doing also, this transformation is wonderful, and at the same time is showing us that we're just starting, right? You just explore what will be the next of collaboration, the next of experience. How do you build immersive experiences for all these people? Of course, we have virtual exhibition, we have the virtual meetings, we have virtual rooms for one-to-one, etc., etc. So all these matched together is making something that hopefully could be even adding more value, because this new normal that people are talking about is hopefully a better normal, right? I mean, because going to in-person event requires a lot of carbon footprint, requires to stay away from your family, requires to stay away from your office. Yes, it's fun, of course, and party, but it all comes in a package. And I think with the work we do now, we can change the whole transform the whole industry. and make it more effective, make it more immersive for people, and at the end of the day, make a platform for Europe, for the world to excel in a better way. We need that. We need that.
Yeah.
It's there's no time.
So do you think that there is a going back to usual?
Let me remind you, remember, and I'm sure your viewers remember the 9/11, right? When these things happened there, it's been in New York, it's been the Pentagon, and these were a couple of planes crushing and killing a lot of people. But it was the stress, right? It was the stress. We all remember the fire and the smoke going out of these towers. 3 years after this, the hospitality industry in US was still recovering and not reaching to the levels of pre-9/11. Now, let's see what happened this time. We have 1/3 of the world in lockdown, not 1 or 2 towers, right? It's the whole world being in lockdown. Still being in lockdown, a lot of them. We'll be having such a huge rate of unemployment that we've never thought we can ever have and to deal with in our lifespan. And all this remarkably matching with the other number of challenges we're all facing. AI being there at the crossroads of adding value or becoming even bigger challenge. The biotechnologies and where is it heading? And now it was a biological virus that set us up in this lockdown. How about matching biotechnology and having an AI-based biovirus in the next? So this is all a very, very, very interesting time, which provides a lot of challenges. Are we going back to the where it was? No way. There will be nothing that we know from the past that will stay even only as a beacon to show us where we've been and where we are heading. And it's happening in a speed that very few people basically realize, because we are all spinning together.
Absolutely. And I mean, you just referred to, world after this whole crisis, that it's not going to be the same. I'm seeing right now a question on Telegram, and it says, do you think that you will have a purely virtual reality Webit at some point?
Of course, but still the VR glasses are very heavy. And it requires, it brings a lot of pain on your neck if you stick with them for more than half an hour, 1 hour, if it's really immersive game, but it still pains. So yeah, it still requires technology to move ahead. Until then, we are using the virtual show, and they're providing a platform that is quite well positioned to provide business value for our attendees, and through this value to our community.
It's amazing because your show looks like as if you're CNN. And for all of that, you're just at your home. Isn't it awesome what you can do with, very little effort, actually, everybody being in their homes and then being able to put together such amazing shows?
Well, I'm happy that you say it's not very big effort. Actually, it's a tremendous effort to make it look so effortless.
well, I know actually, with the logos and everything, it's terrible. Well, let's talk about the very beginnings of Webit Foundation and of your community. So, when you started in 2008, Bulgaria was considered one of the very poor countries within the now European Union. And now you put it on the map as a digital capital. How you managed to do that?
It's been a long journey, though, right? And it's something that we are very proud of, indeed. Most of the media were calling Sofia the capital of the poorest country in EU, and now the same media call it the digital capital. So there's been a lot of work, but I think the key element of building a community is providing self-confidence, right? If you create a community of self-confident people who believe that there is nothing impossible as long as they put enough efforts, and it's all about the single point of impact. Many communities put too many goals to follow and too many, and this also, by the way, matches this mentality with entrepreneurs, which when I'm investing and when I'm mentoring of them, I always ask them, all right, what is your single point of impact area? What is your pin that pushes the skin and makes it move, right? That's what really matters. So once you define that single point of impact and you bring as much power as possible around that pin so you can push it there. If you use the same power and push like this, the feeling will be different and comparable to the one that goes with the pin. So you just need to define this first tool, to define that single point of impact, and then start collecting as much as possible power. And as you can imagine, with the right pin, you don't need that much. You just need the right one. And then it starts building up. And then you can add more pins of push areas. And then you build a very vast region where then global media starts saying, oh, wow, there's been something going on there. Let's talk about it. So yeah, I'm very proud with all these people who trusted us on the way. That's how we started building that community. You know, communities are built around shared necessities. So you need people with shared necessities and trust. And this is a wonderful mixture. And that's why I'm so positive that after this terrible crisis, which is just starting, let's be very open and clear here, we will be much more prepared than any of our predecessors, because they've never been connected that way. They've never been interactive in the way we are. So it's going to be a wonderful journey, tough journey, but with a lot of lessons learned.
Absolutely. And there is another question coming in right now on Slido. It says, do you think that people will ever go back to attending big events, or will everything be multiple smaller online events from now on?
I don't have a crystal ball, honestly speaking, but what I do believe is that the big events are going to go through a special way of redefining that particular value proposition. Why? Well, events are all about communities. It's not about the size, right? Webit could have been much bigger. We decided to keep it 15,000 for just specific reasons, but it's not about numbers. And people will be more and more reluctant to rub shoulders with completely unknown strangers in a post-COVID world where you're still not 100% sure of how things will work out, and is there a threat? How is that threat going to impact the community and your own personal health? So I might turn wrong. It might be the people to forget almost immediately what has been known to be in lockdown for 3 months. Maybe people will decide that they can go for immortality. Who knows? There could be different scenarios. But I think that in regards of the large scale events, that all they need to do is to reconsider the real value they are adding to their communities. And that immediately might mean shrinking a little bit, downsizing, in order to be more personalized. And of course, the platforms also will help. I mean, I think software is the key on the top of the good intentions and the real value that you're bringing. That's why we believe in, and we work with the virtual show to give them more and more and more spin on the value part.
And I mean, you spoke about the size and the communities, and one of the very important parts in your community, which makes it really significant and very interesting, is that you are unbelievably well connected also to governments. So when you first started this, bringing people from the government on Webit stage, you alienated some people in the beginning. So what was your intention? Why do you think that we need the government on stage as well?
You can't make a move, and even if you do it, it will not be significant in size and scale unless you involve the ecosystem. Yeah, and this is not only entrepreneurs, right? It's everyone that is involved. So let's see what is happening right now. Elon Musk just sent 2 adult astronauts out there in the space, overcoming like couple of million obstacles, and doing it through his own entrepreneurial commitment to his own dreams and excellence. But does it happen alone? No, they start that rocket from NASA station, right? From the NASA launch pad, and they do it along with NASA. And Elon has been winning billions from the public procurement money, and on and on. I don't need to continue this. So, and this is a great, really great opportunity to showcase public-private partnerships in their best. And I think here Europe is a fantastic platform. Let's look at the continent as a platform. It's the most diverse continent in the world, in terms of number of countries, in terms of history, etc. It is a fantastic. It's a fantastic place for all of us to live in, and all this is making a fantastic, unbelievable launchpad for all of us, Europeans and others, to come and to build their own rockets. Today, going to ESS, tomorrow to the moon, the day after to Mars. And this is just a baby step, right? Then next and next. So I think that from that perspective, if you're not matching government, NGOs, civil society, and entrepreneurship and business enterprise, you're not doing enough. And I hate not to do enough. So that's why we started it. And it's been terrible. At that moment was very unfashionable to have policymakers involved. I was accused of whatever you can think of. And some of our ecosystem members were telling me, you're betraying us. We don't want governments. We don't want. Well, I'm not in a position to explain myself because I've been doing many crazy things on my way. So if I have to explain all of them, I wouldn't be wasting all that time doing only this. So just do the crazy thing, and if it happens, you don't need to explain it afterwards too. So Elon is not explaining now what he's doing. The whole world knows it. And I think if we all match those high expectations we have to each other and to ourselves particularly, then we will see great results coming out of these crises. And I'm very optimistic for this.
Absolutely. Well, there is another very interesting question here. It says, you said earlier that you're interested only in the now. What, in your opinion, is then the difference between legacy and impact?
That's a fantastic question. Well, let me say that I am interested in the now in terms of impact itself. Normally, in front of the entrepreneurs, there are 2 major questions and 2 major challenges to overcome. One is, if there is a visionary entrepreneur, they only think about tomorrow, the big thing, the big picture, the growth, right? How big is it? It must be there. I mean, you have to, if you don't talk about growth, what are you talking about? Impact and growth. But then there is another type of questions and challenges you have to overcome. And this is the challenge of today. How do you go all the way for tomorrow? How do you overcome the today's crisis, etc.? So it's, if these don't work together, if the entrepreneur, the founder, or the team are not focused on both of these at the same time, it's a challenging either challenging today or challenging future, because today they might be excelling, but tomorrow they'll be having lack of wisdom, of vision to go. So because I'm very actionable and I'm very pragmatic, regardless of some people saying that I'm more about vision rather than work, I'm really very pragmatic. I wish I can have a very clear day by day, hour by hour program, and I try to do this, and I'm very, very consistent in building in myself that particular day by day, hour by hour program. So there is no tomorrow if there is no today. And if we continue behaving like we behave, restless, irresponsible, to the future of our kids, through damaging the nature, through making so many kinds, animals extinct, there will be no tomorrow. So that's the today's impact. Make sure you work and you do things that are not killing the humankind tomorrow. Because we see at the lockdown, the fish is coming back to the canals of Venice, and sea lions are walking, not walking, but you can find them on the streets of, still not walking the way we imagine, streets of these cities. But so the nature is taking over at the moment we stop killing it. So that's the today thing, the responsible lifestyle, the thinking of the future through today's action. Yeah, that's my today.
Actually, I wish you could have this.
Oh, I wish I could have it. Yeah.
Well, it's, yeah, we
You
have
promised
to work
me.
on.
You promised me one once we meet in person, right?
Absolutely, I will make one. This is just apples with just some sugar. Cook them and boil them in water, and whip some cream and some cinnamon. This is the perfect dessert. Very light, very good. You can also have ice cream on it. It's really, really yummy.
That sounds like not very light, but I like it.
Well, just a little bit of a cream, not you don't have to exaggerate. Would you say that you're driven by emotions and your gut feeling is your scientific and academic side? And your gut feeling, by emotions and your gut feeling, or your scientific and academic side prevails?
Wow. And it is like 9:30 p.m. Wow.
Well, for these kinds of questions, Plamen, we have a glass of wine.
Oh yeah, I'm missing all the fun, for God's sake. I was so much in a hurry to join the call, so I'm missing that great fun of it. I would say that I trust in the heart.
Yeah.
Cheers, dear. I trust in the power of the big heart. Yes, that's what I trust. We call all our members of the Webit community members with big people with big hearts. I believe we need more than ever the big hearts of the people, and if that means emotions, most probably yes. But obviously, we can't afford to lose a moment. So the being there and knowing the results, using critical thinking, and having the scientific point of view, how much we were missing and still missing in these times of COVID, the scientific point of view. Sometimes emotions can be misleading. So I think that's the key of critical thinking, following your heart, but always questioning if the direction is leading you to the journey you want to take, not to the end point, because our end point a couple of months ago for this year was 17th, 20th of June, right? The Webit celebration of personal and professional, particularly professional and business relations. And now it's a completely different journey we're taking. I would say similarly exciting, with much more challenges on the way, but hey, that's fun. So yeah, I think that we can't go without. If someone putting particular weight on one but not the other, we might end up in situations which we do not want to deal with. So I prefer this mixed hybrid approach.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely agreed. You know, we're almost at the end. This show is 30 minutes. And right before we end, we always ask our guests if they had a joke they can tell to cheer up the people of the internet in these, difficult times. And, some people just tune in for the joke part because we have a huge list of jokes. Can you remember a joke? Because I mean, too bad that you had very little time to prepare.
Oh yeah, well, jokes. I have. How spicy? How spicy should it be? Do you put spicy jokes on?
This is prime time, and on YouTube we said this isn't a show for kids. So go ahead.
Well, yesterday I was told a joke. I was wondering, should I laugh in front of my kids or not? But yeah, so the joke was like this. It's a COVID branded joke, obviously, and it's very interesting because it tells the truth for some people. So there was this friend telling me that because of COVID, when he's watching adult movies with nurses, he's only clapping hands. So so basically he said, I'm not watching these movies anymore,
Okay, this was really well done. Amazing.
So yeah, that's how weird is life, isn't it?
Well, and also, you're in Bulgaria. We have lots of friends, lots of Bulgarian friends, and we know that you guys are excellent at jokes that are sometimes slightly out of well, okay. I have one too.
Please.
Can February March?
Say it again. Sorry, I missed you.
Can February March?
Tell? Do you say tell?
Can.
Can. All right. Yeah.
Can February March? That's the question.
Yeah.
The joke is not over. No, yeah? The joke is not over yet.
No, I don't know if it can March.
No, but April, May. Ha ha ha. Now is the joke.
I should have get more prepared. I should have come with a much more intellectual joke, for God's sake. No, I thought Ken is okay.
this is, my humor. Everybody knows that my humor is not extremely sophisticated. So don't worry about that. But if you have a couple of more minutes to join our after show party, I would really, really appreciate your time. And let me say good night to all the people out there watching our stream. This was Plamen Russev, the founder of the Webit Foundation, and he's a philanthropist and an investor. And I'm really, really thankful and grateful that you joined us tonight. And you're shaping the future of the virtual events. And I'm looking forward to hearing more about what you're going to do in the front lines and show us how the future is going to be.
Thank you so much for inviting me, and thank you for having me in your kitchen.
Thank you. Well, guys, tune in for tomorrow. Good night. And Plamen, you stay for 5 more minutes for our after show party. Bye-bye.